Welcome to the NEBRASKAland Bank podcast.
I'm Ty.
I'm David.
I'm Danielle, and we're your hosts. In each episode, we'll sit down with local guests to highlight the incredible people and stories that make our community unique.
From finance to sports, community events to local businesses, we've got it all covered. Join us as we dive into the heart of our community.
This is the NEBRASKAland Bank podcast, always community-minded.
Every voice.
Every topic.
Every time.
So turn the volume up, settle in,
and let's talk NEBRASKAland.
All right, friends, welcome back to the NEBRASKAland Bank podcast with Danielle Remus, Ty Lucas. I'm David Fudge, and it's been a while since we've all been in a room together. We're going to talk about something today that we're all just a little bit familiar with. A little bit. Danielle, a little bit familiar with.
Yeah, just a touch.
Yeah.
Around here, we're all
very familiar with it.
In NEBRASKAland Days.
Yep, and it's 2 weeks. Actually, 13 days away. I think the first events, well, actually less than that if you want to stop and think about it, because Miss Rodeo Nebraska pageant gets underway in roughly 10 days, and the golf tournament's about 13 days away, and then the rodeo, Buffalo Bill Rodeo, starts in 2 weeks. So a lot to look forward to. We're looking forward to that. But first, as we always do, we want to start with a icebreaker question. And why don't you lead us off with that?
Okay. The more I've thought about this, I wondered if we've asked this question before, because it feels I'm having a little deja vu. So hopefully my answer is the same as it was the first time.
We can go back and check it.
I know. I'm curious what I said.
If we have, in fact, answered that question.
But it might have been a little bit different. So the question is, what's your all-time favorite NEBRASKAland Days concert? And I can start.
Okay. Go for it.
I was in middle school and was there probably like the first people through the gate, because what else do you have to do when you're a middle schooler? And so me and my friends are like hanging out on the gate. It was Brian White and Leanne Rimes. Yep. Somebody from Brian White's group caught our little friend group and invited us to go backstage.
Oh, wow.
So we got to like go into the little area where he was like preparing, meet the whole band, hang out with him for a little bit, shake his hand, get pictures. It was pretty cool as a middle schooler.
Were you one of those people, were you like lined up outside the gate? How early were you lined up?
I have no idea. See, I don't remember the details specifically. I just remember where we were at. Like we were just hanging on that one of the gates, and somebody was like, hey, you guys, do you want to come back here and meet Brian White?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So I was like, I'm never going to wash my hands.
How's that held up?
I'm going to marry Brian White.
Yeah. Okay. Ty, how about you?
Okay, me before we're going to introduce our guest here today. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll go next. The Big and Rich concert was incredibly good. Incredibly energized show. You know, I would have been attending since the 80s. So, you know, you think of some like the Monkees and the Beach Boys and some of the, back when the rock bands, and then some of the old school country bands. But I think the best single show I've seen in that arena, in my opinion, was Big and Rich.
Yeah.
I thought they killed it.
Yeah, they did it was my first year on the board back in 2005. So I remember that show well. My favorite shows are all about the musicians. And so my favorite shows have been Chris Stapleton, who is just a superb musician. Lindsay L. was actually one of an opening act a few years ago, and she's a superb musician. And Alan Jackson, the people that can just stand up there and play and just be completely authentic about it with no mixing and production just really always turn my crank. So, and to that extent, we'll talk about it in just a little bit, but one of this year's acts for NEBRASKAland Days is cut out of that same cloth. And so looking forward to that show. So Bob Lantis is the executive director of NEBRASKAland Days. I'm curious what your favorite concert you ever saw out there was.
Well, I have two answers to that. I'm going to go back to, because I spent a lot of time here as a little kid with my cousins, and that was in the 80s. So the very first show I can remember going to was probably Charlie Daniels.
Yeah.
That had to be somewhere in the mid-'80s.
Charlie Daniels won.
Yeah, won, for sure. Yeah. That is a memory that is stuck in my mind just because of the amount of time I spent out at NEBRASKAland Days as a kid. And those are some of my favorite memories. The answer number 2 to that, because of the show that he put on, is probably Eric Church last year.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about somebody just getting up there on stage and they're just a true musician, playing a guitar and singing.
Yeah.
I say that it's also my favorite show because it happened.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, it is. If you really love somebody that can just get up there and sing and entertain, Eric Church, I thought that was a really great show. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but for about the half hour that I did get to watch, I thought it was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, completely wild the way that all came together.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I have a question to kick us off, Bob. This is your second year?
This will actually be my third celebration.
But second?
Yep. As the sole executive director, I shadowed the prior executive director for a year, who you guys might know. So I worked under him year 1. Year 2, I was on my own. I almost screwed it up. Didn't have a concert on Friday night. And then it's to be determined here for this year, but no, we're all good. Yeah. So third celebration.
Okay. So I feel like this would be a challenge, especially for somebody in your position where you're new, but I'm curious how you balance tradition, because Nebraskaland Days has a lot of tradition and sometimes people can be very sensitive to change. But so how do you balance like honoring the traditions with trying new things and keeping things fresh?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's a delicate situation. It is because of, we're in the 62nd year of Nebraskaland Days, right? And that's where tradition comes from. And so when you try to keep as much tradition as you can, because that's what our mission statement is to promote Western heritage, it is tough to take some of the best things of history and make sure that you keep those things with the celebration, but you're also trying to balance hey, what can we do to keep this thing moving upward? So yeah, sometimes there are some really tough decisions that you have to make in order for, to implement change. But, at the end of the day, I took this position not because, I felt like it needed me, but I took this position to make sure that the celebration keeps moving forward, because we've been on such this great track, I'm going to say over the last 15 years, right? I mean, the celebration from when I was on the board to where it is today, it's amazing. I mean, so the one thing that I don't want to see happen is, the celebration go downhill for some reason, or for the sake of preserving some historical tradition, not make a change that's necessary, So that's kind of my take, but it is very delicate because you have a lot of people in our community that are so kind of used to that history. And so you have to be very careful when you introduce change. And we've had to do that this year, but I think it's all for the good. And I think it's going to show this year.
Okay, well, I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I'm not overly familiar with this year's artists. Now, Diamond Rio, I'm really familiar with. There's still a constant on my Spotify. But anyway, the lead artists of both nights, I'm not overly familiar with. So assuming there's listeners who are like me, why don't you tell us a little bit about both shows?
Yeah, so Friday night is going to be kind of a high-energy, red dirt, southern rock type night with Treaty Oak Revival. That's going to be a really exciting night. It's going to be geared towards a lot younger crowd. And so along with Treaty Oak, you've got 49 Winchester and the Wilder Blue, which are, they fit in the same genre as Treaty Oak Revival. So that whole night is going to be a high energy, kind of southern, country rock, red dirt type genre that's going to be really exciting. Treaty Oak right now, if you listen to any country music streaming services, they get a lot of playtime on streaming services. They've got a lot of really familiar songs that you would probably hear it, Ty, and you'd be like, oh, well, I just didn't know that was Treaty Oak, right? But they've got a lot of songs that get a lot of play, on streaming services. And then, of course, Saturday is kind of a retro 90s throwback, and it's a kid, Zach Top, that you look at him, and he looks like he's from the 90s, right? I'm not sure of his exact age, but he's, probably in his mid-30s. But he looks like literally he should be playing country music in the 90s. He sounds like it. So that show's going to, still, it's going to be geared for all ages because Zach Top has a lot younger of a following. But I would tell you, you brought it up, Diamond Rio, right? So that was the perfect 90s country music group that, I mean, this is their third time. This will be their third time playing at NEBRASKAland Days. I believe 93 and 2006, possibly somewhere in there. They were here before. But, 90s, they were very popular. Early 2000s, they were very popular. And guess what? They're still really popular today. Now, albeit it's a little bit older of a crowd that, they probably connect with. But so, yeah, he's going to bring a young crowd. We're going to, Diamond Rio's going to bring a little bit older crowd. And then the first out opener's a guy by the name of Spencer Hatcher, which is kind of fits that Zach Top sound. It's kind of a retro 90s country sound, but nice young talented individual that can get up and play guitar and sing. So we're looking forward to 2 really great nights of concert.
I love it. Those are 2 genres of music that I love. I have learned you don't have to know the artist to really enjoy a concert. Also embarrassing, I went to Zach Bryan recently in Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
And I know him. I always thought all of his music kind of sounded the same. It was a fantastic experience. Fantastic experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't want to like it, but I did.
Yeah.
It was really the end, him playing his heart out in the rain and it's pouring, and it was iconic. It was really, really cool.
You don't have to be familiar with music or really familiar with music to really enjoy a concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea of live entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. You go to a concert for the experience. It's way different than sitting in your pickup driving down the interstate just listening to country music radio, right? Those shows are quite amazing, and we've had them here, and I think it's going to happen again this year. So, yeah.
Yeah. I caught Zach Top's show last fall at Red Rocks, and it is very Alan Jackson-esque. Zach is one of the few artists that you will see younger who has the ability to stand there and play and sing. And he is a wonderful musician. And so I'm really looking forward to North Platte getting more familiar with him. I think that's going to be a really fun night at the arena. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What's the cup thing with the Friday night music? My kids are talking about the cup thing. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so if you want the full experience of the cup thing, you can find out firsthand. You just need to be standing out in the middle of the arena or the Golden Circle or the Party Pit when the song Boomtown comes on, and you're going to fully find out what that whole deal is all about.
I think you should do that, Ty. Whatever it is.
If I'm not volunteering, I only go to the floor. Did you know that about me at NEBRASKAland Days?
No.
Oh, you got to work yourselves to the back of the floor. It's fantastic. It was right there for Eric Church last year.
Don't wear your best church clothes for that night, please. Because, okay, just you asked. So there's a song, and it's a Treaty Oak deal. I mean, you can find them on social media. You can see this all over. But when the song Boomtown comes on, that's kind of the time when everybody starts throwing their beverage up in the air.
Oof.
And to that end, it's all
clear of that.
You're going to be safe because we have to pour every beverage this year in a plastic cup. So there won't be any aluminum cans.
You're going to be drenched.
It won't be raining aluminum. That's good. Yeah.
So the worst thing is you might get hit on the head with a plastic cup of beer.
Or are you going to be covered in beer?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to say yes.
Possibly.
I'm going to steer clear of that song.
We'll have to recap on this after the concert.
Yeah.
You never know. I'll probably give it a shot.
Yeah,
what the heck? You only live once.
Yeah. Just get your phone out and record a little bit of it. We'll see what it looks like actually from down in there. Well, just be prepared for you. Might just bring a rain slicker. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck?
I think you did a good job, though. The younger generation, I know, is very excited about Treaty Oak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's going to be a young crowd for sure.
Yeah. Well, one of the major changes, we kind of alluded to it a little bit before we started. There's the rodeo will look just a little bit different this year, and so why don't you walk us through that? So
we did have to, at the end of last year's celebration, kind of make a decision in a different direction with a stock contractor. And so we did our homework and did our research. The rodeo committee spent a lot of time and effort interviewing different rodeos across the country that's very similar to ours. And we ended up choosing Frontier Rodeo Company out of Oklahoma. They are the 11-time PRCA Stock Contractor of the Year. And so we had to make a change, and so we were really looking to what the best possibility of that change was going to be. And so we went with Frontier, and we're really excited about it. Our entries for this year just closed at the end of last week. So we ended up with, across 4 nights of rodeo and 3 rough stock events, bareback, saddle bronc, and bull riding, we ended up with 60 more entries across those 3 events than we did last year. We're excited. We think that the rodeo is going to be fantastic this year. And I think people are going to get to see as many contestants ride. Now, you got to get the contestants here to ride, right? They can enter. They don't necessarily have to show up. But this is the second year now that we've had the increased purse of $10,000. And so what happens when you throw that $10,000 purse in with the increased amount of entry fees, it really incentivizes those guys to actually show up and ride. Mm-hmm. So we do think that we're kind of in a position this year to actually get those cowboys to show up, ride the animal that they drew, which in the end is, what the fans sitting in the grandstands want to see. They want to see people riding. They want to see people riding bulls. They want to see people riding saddle bronc horses, bareback horses. Those are the big events. Of course, every rodeo event people love to watch and see. It's all exciting, but those are the ones that you really got to have the top cowboys actually show up and ride in order to put on a successful rodeo and give your customers a great experience, right? So that's what we're looking forward to this year. Again, we think it's going to be a great move on our part with one of the top stock contractors in the year. Every year, if you watch the NFR, they are consistently have as many animals, in the NFR as any other stock contractors. So, we're looking forward to that. And that was a huge change, a huge decision. You talk about tradition and some of the history, but that's a good example of sometimes you can't just sit on history just for the sake of sitting on history. You got to keep moving forward and trying to make things better for everybody that comes to Nebraskaland Days.
I will say this, and a lot of people don't know this. There's a rodeo committee that they think about that rodeo 12 months out of the year and do a lot of work on it, and they deserve a shout out in the middle of all this discussion too, because I know they put a lot of time and energy into this.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And that is, to your point, David, you got to let the experts in those, in that area, you got to let those people do their jobs. And I've never put on a rodeo. I kind of team roped when I was in college, but I never really rodeoed. Those guys are sitting on that side of the arena on that committee. Most of them have been involved in rodeo for a lot of years. They know what it takes to put on a rodeo. They know what it takes, to have the right cowboys and cowgirls show up. So 100%, my hat's off to that committee and the time and effort that they put into making this change, because it was big. It was a big change for them. I can tell you that I sat in on that meeting via phone call just to, lend my support. I let them, they all voted as a committee and then, made a recommendation to our board of directors, and I was there to support them however I could. But I would tell you, after they voted to make that change, it was kind of like a funeral. It was very quiet and somber, and they all just that was the end of the meeting. That was a huge decision to make for those guys. And again, so my hat's off to those guys for, having the courage to make those changes or make those suggestions. And our board of directors was in full support of whatever the committee wanted to do. And that's the other thing that I'm very thankful for, is that our board of directors right now, our relationship with the rodeo committee is terrific. We're all marching in the same direction, and we're fully in support of everything that the committee does, and the committee really appreciates some of the things that we're doing for them. And so you got to have great relationships when you're putting on an event like this, and so we have those relationships. They're very vital to making our celebration a success.
That kind of ties right into something I wanted to talk about. I'm always blown away by the volunteer effort of Nebraskaland Days. I mean, it's just a tremendous effort. The rodeo is still affordable. If you think about it's per person, the tickets are maybe just a shade more than going to the movies, less than a round of golf is, and our golf courses are extremely reasonable around here. Mm-hmm. You think of it in the context of types of entertainment. To be able to go to a unique live show at the ticket costs, I'm blown away by. I have to assume that the volunteer effort plays a tremendous role in all that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And to that end, we couldn't put on any part of Nebraskaland Days without the volunteer groups that we have, from the Rotary groups to the Kiwanis groups to, and I can't name them all off the top of my head, but there's a lot of very important groups that volunteer their time. Sheriff's Posse, Helping Park. There's a couple others that I'm missing, but man, those people, it's important to our community, and that's I think where you see those groups. They don't even ask questions; they just show up, right? And they do exactly what they have to do. They scan tickets, get people through our front gates. It's just amazing to watch the community and all the service organizations and all the volunteers come together for the month of June and make this thing happen. It is truly remarkable. It really is. And Ty, to your other point, yeah, go find any entertainment right now for $26 for an adult. That gets you a reserved grandstand seat. Or if you want to bring your kids, an $11 ticket. You can't go to the movie theater and watch a movie for that type of budget. So it is truly one of those things that it's family affordable, even in today's economy. It's great entertainment. There's going to be a ton of, it's not just rodeo, because there's a funny man that's involved in the rodeo, and it's good entertainment. It's good family entertainment, mm-hmm. right? So yeah, it's very affordable in my opinion. Even concerts, if you take our concert ticket price and you go compare it across any other venue within 300 miles of here, I would venture to say on average we're probably half to two-thirds the price of any of those other venues. So yeah, I think we have got a great thing here, and we can't forget that this is a state celebration, right? Sometimes we get a little nearsighted and think, oh, it's just North Platte that's involved, but it's the entire state of Nebraska, and all the surrounding states, and we draw from even a larger radius than just the surrounding states. But it's an important celebration in the state of Nebraska, and so I think that's kind of the neat thing about what we have going on. You can come to North Platte, Nebraska, go to a concert for $79 for a general admission ticket. As long as you buy your tickets from NebraskalandDays.com, yeah, you're going to get a pretty cheap ticket.
Yeah. To your point, one of the things that's always amazed me is how the entire community seems to pitch in. And that's your groups, that's community groups, that's the city, that's the county. Everybody seems to have something going on during those 2.5 weeks and contribute in some way. And it really is kind of fun to watch play out in real time.
Yeah. And even, you said it, the city of North Platte, man, they do a lot of things for us that, we don't even hardly ask them. They'll just step up and do. But, the other group of people that I want to make sure that we recognize is our sponsors from top to bottom, mm-hmm. because they are absolutely essential to making our celebration a success. And so, every year when I have to do sponsorship renewals in the fall, I love sitting down with all of those representatives and being like, hey, what went well, what didn't? And, year after year, it becomes so easy because those people love the celebration. And we try to give them as much as we can for the dollars that they give us. But truly, that's where you find out how much Nebraskaland Days means to the community and all the businesses and all the sponsors, because it just seems so easy to sit down and have a conversation with those folks and ask for that sponsorship dollars. So
people don't understand this, but Nebraskaland Days, from a city sales tax perspective, is more important than Christmas these days. if you look at those trends, I mean, it's a big boost to the community. People don't understand that, and I think sometimes over the years, a lot of residents tend to think of it as kind of a pain for those 2 to 3 weeks because that might alter the way they have to drive from point A to point B. But truly, the benefit is in the dollars that get planted in the community during those weeks.
Yeah, it's a huge impact.
One thing that I've seen in working here in banking for as many years as I have, I used to hear all the time from customers, well, everybody's money sucks up before NEBRASKAland Days and then sucks up again after NEBRASKAland Days because they spend their time, energy, and their money during NEBRASKAland Days. Now what I hear is that our tourism has grown to the point where local folks probably tighten their belts before the celebration, after the celebration, but there's now other people in our communities that have started to smooth out the sales of those businesses. And I think that's because of everything we've accomplished as a community in tourism, which NEBRASKAland Days has led the way in. But I don't hear near the complaints about the 2 weeks prior and the 2 weeks after as I did at one point in time. And so it's been a tremendous community effort to, I think, not just have and support NEBRASKAland Days, but to have North Platte be a continued tourist destination and great overnight stop on their way east or west.
Yeah.
What else is new this year?
Oh, boy. Probably ought to mention when you come out to the arena this year, you're going to see a new beverage service station. Forever, we've had the central beverage service station right there as you kind of walk into the front gates off to the left. Well, what we did this year is reconstructed a new structure to the south of the quad area that's going to allow us to get people in the front gates more efficiently and get them moving into the facility in different areas. So waiting lines should be significantly decreased with that. I think overall it's just going to help us. We can actually serve out of 3 sides of that thing instead of the old one was basically just 2 sides, or 2 sides was about it. So this gives us another full side to serve out of. Gives us additional beverage storage. And so that was the major project out there this year. My hat's off to the board of directors because it was one of those projects that I've got some construction guys on the board, and they start to finish that thing, and they just did it. And it was every year you have those projects, you're like, oh, are we gonna get this done? Come on. And then they do it, and you're like, whew, yeah, good job. But yeah, that's the newest thing out there this year. So again, I think that's just one of those deals that's gonna help with the customer experience of not having to wait in line so long. Get in the facility, get your food, get your beverage. That's one other new thing this year.
Festival starts 16th?
Yep, that's the golf tournament is 16th. So we'll kick it off. Officially, you've got the first event is the Lincoln County Cattle Women's Grape and Sizzle event. We added that as an affiliate event this year. It's Friday, June 12th at 5 p.m. So that'll kind of kick it off. That's the first affiliate event. And then, yes, David, the 16th is our Buffalo Bill Classic Golf Tournament, which is Tuesday. And then Wednesday, here we go. It's going to be rodeo time. So,
Is cowboy kickball still on the schedule?
Yeah. There's no way we can do away with cowboy kickball. That has become such a popular event out there that it wouldn't be good if we did away with cowboy kickball.
I retired. I rolled my ankle.
I remember you like
one step off the base, and I like rolled my ankle. It was mortifying.
I might have remembered that one time.
So I'm done.
And I'm not sure I would play kickball either, but it is a tremendously popular event.
It was fun. That is a good event.
We talk about something that started out as a joke almost. And just, holy smokes!
Yeah,
so competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through the channels the other night, and there's kickball on TV, and I thought, okay, we're not the only ones. And I don't know what channel it is. But you guys, you know what's fun about Celebration? You've added a number of fun events over the years, and a lot of times days where there was little holes and things.
Yep.
So it's been fabulous to watch it evolve. My kids, who always come back for NEBRASKAland Days, whether their mother wants them to or not, always argue about what they like rodeo weekend better or do they like concert weekend better, and it's a constant debate in our household. So we commend all of you guys for your efforts on both.
Well, just bring them back for 10 straight days, Ty. I mean, that first weekend
I saw that look.
No.
I saw that look.
The first week is really, it's so exciting because there's so many things going on. Yeah. Your adrenaline kind of kicks in and you're just kind of on the go.
Is that what it is that carries you through, is the adrenaline? Because I think about that. You've got to be tired.
It's not sleep, I guarantee you that. Yeah, it's adrenaline, and that first week you get through it, and then you kind of get to take a little bit of a breath for a couple days, and then you get ready for concerts, and it goes by in a blink of an eye, I promise. It goes pretty quickly. So,
Tickets and information?
NebraskalandDays.com. Or give us a call at the office. We got seasonal staff out there. But yeah, that's very important. NebraskalandDays.com. Don't just Google concert tickets, North Platte, Nebraska. Please don't do that. Just type in our actual website address. Go to NebraskalandDays.com. Full calendar of events. You can buy your tickets right there. There's event information. So there's a ton of information on our website. So, or again, call the office. We got seasonal staff that they can help you answer any questions that you have. So, yeah.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take in plenty of water and ibuprofen and all those sorts of things here over the next month. Yeah. And we wish you well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your support.
We appreciate the job you and the board and everybody does.
You bet.
All right. So we always like to finish with a little segment we call Asking for a Friend. And we kind of thought about this a little bit. And many of us, and Ty, I'll pose this question to you, and Bob, you may have some thoughts on this, and I may have some thoughts on this, but a lot of us are affiliated with nonprofits and boards, or we volunteer for those sorts of things. What kind of advice would you have for people who have to manage nonprofit money correctly, which is a little bit of a different animal than managing your personal finances correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think my response is to take some extra steps to do it the right way. I mean, it is different when you're taking people's contributions or sales for particular projects and you're taking them into a nonprofit. It's different than a business because it takes a responsibility. First and foremost, reconciling bank statements, having a CPA, an outsider, file the tax return annually or work through the tax filings. The little tricks like one person signs checks and the other reviews and reconciles the statements. I mean, simple dual controls. Board oversight, having people with finance and legal accounting backgrounds volunteering their time. Online banking and alerts, going to your bank and saying, please help teach us about how we can prevent fraud. Fraud is tough with a person, with a business. It's even tougher in a nonprofit because the last thing you want is finger pointing among board members or employees because somebody got scammed who was there volunteering their time. And so going to the bank and saying, can you teach us the best ways to prevent fraud? And then banks at that point will talk about, dual controls, online banking, the use of alerts, reconciliation of statements, and a lot of those things we just talked. And so I think my biggest advice is that when you're part of a board, it's not just your responsibility to have some oversight of it. You want to, because the last thing you want to have to do is take away from the energy of what you're trying to accomplish over a financial situation. And so, but we're always here to help. Yeah. We love to work with the nonprofits in our community.
Yeah. What have you learned in the past couple of years?
As an executive director, here's how I look at our financials. Anybody should be able to show up in the office at any given time and ask questions, and I should be able to answer those questions about the smallest of entries on the books, right? We've seen it happen in different organizations where, there's just not enough oversight. There's not enough questions being asked. You end up in a bad situation, and it's never the situation that I want to ever be in. So I'm, hyper-focused on just making sure on almost a daily basis that our books are up to date and things are matching. And so, it's very important. And to that end, you also have to, when we choose executive officers, you have to have the right person. You said it, Ty. It has to have, be somebody that has some experience in either accounting or banking or something like that they kind of understand what they're looking at. Because if you have somebody that's in a different profession where they don't look at financials on a daily basis, they may not know exactly what it is they're looking for. So it is important to be diligent in picking those people and making sure that, they're people that can look at financials and recognize different things.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah. Very good. Well, Bob Lantis has been our guest today. Ty, thank you. Danielle, thank you. And we'll look forward to the next episode, and we'll look forward to the festival here over the next 30 days.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for today. Learn more about our podcast at nebraskalandbank.com/podcast. And if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe to the show, leave us a review, and find us on Facebook. Thanks for listening to the Nebraska Land Bank podcast. Community minded, every voice, every topic, every time.